This is Zaza.
Hi.
And her dog, Pecorino. They're on a mission to find
Hold on, Pecorino.
and to make the perfect pie. Hi pizza lovers, I'm Elena with Zaza's Perfect Pie, and I am gonna demonstrate for you a fantastic pizza topping made with stuff you probably already have in your freezer. And I'm guessing you might have some frozen peas. I know I have a giant bag of them. So we are gonna make a frozen pea pesto. And I defrosted these guys, so they're room temperature. And we are gonna combine some peas with some fresh herbs. Now I know also that might be a tricky part because you might not have some fresh herbs. But I happen to have some parsley and some basil. We're gonna use a little bit of both. If you don't have those things and you have dried herbs, you can use a tablespoon of either dried parsley or basil. And if you don't have any of those, don't add them. It's okay. It'll still be really delicious, I promise. The peas are really good. The other thing you're gonna need are some nuts. Now this part you actually do need. So I am using pistachios, but you could use any nut. My second choice would be almonds. Hazelnuts would also be really nice. I wouldn't use peanuts only because it's a really distinct flavor and you're gonna get more of a peanut butter than a pesto. That might be your thing. No judgment, I'm just saying. I'm using pistachios. You're gonna need a little lemon juice, fresh lemon juice, but if you don't have that, you can use about a tablespoon or two of white vinegar. You want a little acid for a little bite to this stuff. You need some salt, and you need some good quality extra virgin olive oil. So now I'm gonna show you how we combine it all together and make this magical frozen pea pesto for your pizza. So that okay, I have my handy food processor, and the first thing that I'm gonna do is add my pistachios. I have regular blade in here. So I'm adding about 1/4 of a cup to 1/2 of a cup, somewhere around there. You don't really need to be super specific. This isn't baking, it's pesto. Another nice thing about this recipe. So what I like to do is just chop up the nuts a little bit to get things going. Okay, perfect. So those guys are nice and chopped, and then I'm gonna add my herbs. I'm gonna throw in my basil, and I'm gonna add a little bit of my parsley. So basically I want about a cup of packed herbs. I'm gonna throw all that in there. That should be about right. And then I'm gonna add my fresh lemon juice. Oopsies. Again, if you don't have fresh lemon juice, you can add about 2 tablespoons of white vinegar. I'm gonna make sure I get all of this lemon. Yay. Okay, next we have our peas. So I'm gonna add about 1/2 cup of frozen peas. And we're gonna do a pinch of salt. I'm gonna say about 1/2 teaspoon of salt. We're gonna taste it after to make sure it has enough salt. Okay, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna put this on, and we're gonna add, I have about 1/2 cup of olive oil here, and we're gonna stream it in just a little bit at a time. So I'm gonna add a little bit, and then there we go. Okay, let's take a look. So you want sort of a, I would say like a textured texture. You know, pesto isn't hummus. It's not a smooth paste. It's got some pieces in there, but I'm gonna give it a little bit more. So you can kind of scrape down the sides with your spatula, which is a handy thing to do, so you make sure everything's mixed. I'm gonna do a tiny bit of olive oil here, and we're gonna go again. Okay, that is actually perfect. Okay, now is when we taste. It's very important. So we know if we need to add more salt, more lemon juice, more peas. Some people like to add a little bit of honey for an extra sweetness, but I think with the peas you don't really need it. So I'm gonna take a little bit out. It's really good. We're good. So I'm gonna take this and put it into a bowl, and then we are gonna top a pizza with it. Okay, so I'm gonna scoop this into my bowl here. Now what you can do with this pesto, it's really easy to make it ahead and you can save it in the fridge for up to a week, maybe a little more. So what I would do in that case is put it in a jar. Glass jar is great, and then top it with a little extra olive oil just to seal the whole thing. And then I add this to pretty much everything. Salads, salmon, it's really good. Okay, voila, we have our pesto. So now what we are going to do is we're gonna top our pizza with it. This is the pizza crust that I created without yeast. So if you remember from last time, I made a pizza dough without yeast, and then I par baked it, which means I partially baked it for about 8 minutes. And it yielded this nice fluffy, made it in a heart shape. Ooh. So now we are gonna top it with our pesto. And I'm just gonna smear that on in a nice even layer. What else are we going to put on this pizza? Well, if you've got cheese, I would add some grated parm, or I would put it in shavings. I'm gonna show you how we do that. And then you could even put a few extra little peas on it. Oops, I've got a hole. So here's how we would add a few extra little peas, just like this. Just for fun, really. And then we would add our cheese. So I have some grated Parmesan. If you don't have that, you could use pecorino. These are both really salty cheeses, so you don't need to add any more salt to this pizza. If you didn't have that, you could definitely use mozzarella cheese or ricotta cheese, or goat cheese. You could sprinkle that on. So it's really your choice. I prefer the parm, but you can do whatever you like. So I'm gonna grab my cheese and then we'll be back here and put it on. Okay, now for the cheese. So I have Parmesan 2 ways. I've got some grated parm that I'm just gonna sprinkle on top here, like so. But another way that I like to do this is to take my little block of cheese, if you happen to have one, and take my little peeler, mine's very cute with spots on it, and just do little shavings. I like to distribute evenly, that this is your masterpiece, so make it pretty. And then the final thing, very important, I always say to do this before you put your pizza in the oven, is a little bit of olive oil, and we're just gonna drizzle that on. Get it on the crust. Okay, that's pretty awesome. So now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna put it back in the oven. My oven is set to 425 degrees, and we are gonna bake it for about 12 to 15 minutes. You kind of wanna watch it, but I'm gonna do 12 minutes and see how it goes, and then I will meet you back here and show you how everything looks. We are back, and our pizza is out of the oven, and it looks really, really good. So, ta-da! So this crust stays a nice blonde color. It doesn't get too dark, so that's just what it is. A couple of things you can do after it's all done is, if you want, you can add an extra drizzle of olive oil. Never really hurts. A little bit. And then you can put a little fresh cheese on it. Sometimes I like to add a few unmelted little shavings of parm. It's really nice for presentation anyway. And then maybe a few little shavings here. Ta-da! Gorgeous. Okay. And honestly, that's it. So if you have a fancy pizza cutter, you can cut into it. Oh, it's always the most exciting part. So a few tips with a pizza cutter. Hold it straight down. And then, I don't even know how to cut a heart-shaped pizza. Where do I start? Maybe lob off one of the ends? Okay, that's what we're gonna do. So we go straight down and twist at the end. Ooh. And we're gonna go straight down and twist at the end. And then I have this lovely slice. Ooh, ooh, do you see the steam? It's pretty nice. And I'm gonna take a bite. I'll let you know what I think. Mmm, that's pretty good. It's also pretty hot. I would recommend letting it cool off a little bit. But at the end of the day, this is our wonderful pizza and I hope you enjoy it. If you do make it, let me know. Tag me on Instagram on @Zaza'sPerfectPie, and I hope you come back for the next installment of Pantry and Freezer Favorite Pizzas. Thanks so much.